Welcome to the Alaska Weather Show. I'm meteorologist Peter Chan, coming to you from the National Weather Service on this Saturday, July 10th, 2021. And as always, if you'd like additional weather information, we have all kinds of stuff on weather.gov/Alaska. And if you have any questions or would like to share some information or a photo with me, you can reach me at peter.chan@noaa.gov. We're going to talk about this upper level pattern that we've been in, and also the one that's just been really influencing the western U.S., the lower 48 on up into Canada. The map to your left is upper level map looking at the 500 millibar heights. Now, that's meteorological speaking. However, just when you look at that map, you see these areas of red up over central Canada and down around California, western Arizona, and Nevada. These are the heat domes, the upper level ridges that are creating all of the hot temperatures, dry conditions, high fire danger you're hearing about in the news. In fact, Death Valley, California this Saturday afternoon is up near 130 degrees. Meanwhile, if you look up to the corner to the map there, you see some blue areas right over Alaska. We have an upper level low now that's moving out into the Gulf of Alaska, currently centered just to the south of Kodiak Island. And this is a cooler feature. It's one that has been sitting out over the Bering and affecting much of the southwest and western portions of the state for about the last month. That's why it's been so cloudy and wet there. This feature is going to kind of slowly work its way eastward through the Gulf this week. So it's the south central areas, especially along the Gulf Coast there. We'll continue to see cloud cover and periods of rain. In fact, Whittier, Cordova areas have picked up well over a half to nearly an inch of rainfall in the last 24 hours. King Salmon picked up over a half inch of rain with this system. And so we're going to see that hold at least early in the week, especially along the Gulf, and eventually some of that moving into the southeast panhandle. But you can see on the right side, there is a map. This shows the surface temperatures where we have the anomalies, where they are above normal. So where you see the red areas, temperatures are above to much above normal, and where you see the blue areas, they're below normal. Much of the eastern U.S. down there, including the Midwest, southern states are seeing cooler than normal summer temperatures, whereas the west, up into central Canada, just baking away. And this pattern has been very persistent. And that's the reason why we have been stuck in what we've been stuck in here for a while up in Alaska. But there are some changes coming this week. Warmer weather will be on the way, and in response, we're going to see the potential for significant fires increasing. Again, the fire danger is going to be rising, especially over east central areas starting tomorrow, Sunday, and then expanding westward. Still not in the high category, but you're going to start to see the potential for significant fire increasing along and north of the Alaska Range as we head through the early week. Now, as far as looking at what we got for cloud cover across the region, we have that extensive area of cloudiness, and you can see the spin in the clouds there. There's low pressure now just centered south of Kodiak Island with an expansive area of precipitation on up into south central areas, including Prince William Sound, Yakutat. And in the north, we have a cold front coming in to the northwest coast right now with some rain. And that system is going to work its way east-southeastward along the Brooks Range and then have a tendency to diminish as we head over the next couple of days. It's not going to be a long-lasting snap of cooler weather. Along the west coast areas and southwest, we're going to start to see things warm up. Ridge of high pressure, there's an upper level high out over the northern Bering that's going to be building, and that's going to give places Nome, Bethel, on up toward Anak. You're going to have some much warmer weather and drier conditions than what you've had to deal with here for the last month. So you can see the curl in the clouds coming in from the northwest along the northwest coast. That's that cold front that's working its way east-southeastward. With it a band of rain. And then there's that low pressure system to the south-southwest of Kodiak Island. That's going to be a feature that slowly works its way eastward and weakens through the upcoming week. And out ahead of it, though, that onshore flow with that stream of moisture is going to keep the rains going along coastal areas there of the Gulf, and some of that will eventually be pushing up into the southeast panhandle. So those of you, especially east side of the Kenai, Prince William Sound eastward, are going to see rain here for the next few days. But the interior here as we head through Sunday should start to dry out. That front that's currently working its way into the northwest is going to be pushing eastward and have a tendency, at least the western end of it, to kind of wash out as we have weak ridge of high pressure extending behind that in through the western parts of the state. and that will build on Monday into Tuesday, and that means temperatures are going to be warming up along the Yukon Valley. We're going to see the lower Yukon for a change. Instead of being under the cloud cover in only 50s, you're going to have a shot at some temperatures around or above 70 degrees. So try and get some of those summertime projects done that require dry weather, because this is going to be your week, probably the nicest and warmest week of the summer coming up. There's the low spinning out there in the Gulf, and this is what we expect for temperatures. Lows tonight around 50 to the lower 50s across the southeast inner waterways from Ketchikan on up toward Haines and Skagway. Back toward the west, lows generally in the 40s to around 50 degrees. And then for high temperatures Sunday afternoon should be in the lower to mid 60s across the southeast. And as you look to the west there, you get on up into the interior of the west, 71 at McGrath, 70 Talkeetna, still 60s though. As you get down toward the Kenai, and 50s along the immediate coast at Kodiak and Whittier. Monday morning lows lower 50s across the southeast and generally upper 40s to lower 50s elsewhere. And temperatures will begin to warm up as you get over toward King Salmon. Some readings there back up around 70, and even warmer as you go up the Kuskokwim River basin there. Here, lows will get down to near or just a bit above freezing, low mid-30s across the Arctic coast, generally upper 40s around 50 in the Yukon Valley, 40s the Seward Peninsula. And temperatures will be pleasant in the 70s there at Fairbanks on up toward Fort Yukon and Eagle Village. Readings in the 40s and 50s along the North Slope, and generally 50s across the Seward Peninsula. And then on Monday morning, look for lows in the mid-30s to mid-40s along the Arctic coast, upper 40s to even some lower 50s along the Yukon River, and generally 40s to near 50 in the Seward Peninsula. And temperatures will be pleasant along the length of the Yukon Valley, generally getting back up in those lower elevations into the 70s. Even along the Arctic coast, Dead Horse could be up about 66. And Nome in the west could be around 59 to 60 degrees for a change. Sunday morning across the southwest, lows will be generally in the mid to upper 40s. High temperatures Sunday afternoon will get back up around 70 along the mid-upper Kuskokwim River basins. Elsewhere, many places getting back up above 60. Low temperatures Monday morning will dip down into the upper 40s to around 50 degrees for the interior, and generally mid-40s to upper 40s along the Aleutian chain. And then here for Monday afternoon, it's going to warm up nicely. Areas, Dillingham could be up around 68 to 70, 73 at Bethel. And so this is that stretch of warmer weather I was promising you. And let's take a look at what we can expect for the temperature and precipitation outlooks now as we head into at least July 16th through the 20th. This is the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, and it's showing a good chance of above normal temperatures around the Cook Inlet across south central areas. That would include Anchorage down toward King Salmon, and even up along and north of the Alaska range. It'll be cooler though along the North Slope, and that could mean we could have some of our warmest weather at least in the south central areas in quite a while, because there's been quite a bit of cloud cover and some periods of showers from time to time. And if you look off to your screen on the lower right, you'll see that brick red area that's out over the northern Rockies and high plains. That's that big heat ridge. It's moving eastward a bit. That's why the warmer temperatures can take shape over south central areas of Alaska. Now let's look at precipitation. We do expect precipitation between July 16th and 20th in the 6 to 10 day outlook to average below normal across south central areas for a change. And it looks like the moisture wetness will be picking up again across the northwest down into the Seward Peninsula, so beware of that. Enjoy the drier weather and warmer temperatures you have, especially from the Seward Peninsula southward across the southwest interior of the state along the Yukon and Kuskokwim rivers. And this is pretty typical responses to when we have this trough and ridge pattern. So the trough that's currently sitting out over south central areas centered near Kodiak Island, it's going to be moving eastward this week into the Gulf of Alaska, and then gradually weakening as a ridge of high pressure that's currently out over eastern Russia and the northern half of the Bering takes hold of the western states. So this coming week is going to be your week in the west part of the state to enjoy some warmer and drier weather for a change.
And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Coming up here Sunday Into early next week, we are watching a cold front that'll be weakening as it works its way across the north slope and the east side of the Brooks Range on Sunday. Meanwhile, the primary weather feature focusing in on is the low pressure system in the Gulf of Alaska just southeast of Kodiak Island. That'll be responsible for widespread areas of IFR across the Gulf and areas of rain, especially coastal areas from Kodiak Island up through the eastern Kenai, Prince William Sound to Yakutat. And then back out toward the west, we have area of high pressure out over the northern and central Bering Sea, but it's keeping a marine layer there off the west coast across much of the central and eastern portion of the Bering Sea. For Sunday afternoon, look for conditions to improve in the north. That front will be washing out and should generally have VFR conditions across much of the interior through the east central areas and through the Alaska range. But again, IFR conditions there out over the Gulf of Alaska, especially through the open waters and along the eastern Kenai, and then back out through much of the Aleutian chain. For Monday morning, general VFR conditions will prevail across much of the interior. Little MVFR coming in there up around Kotzebue Sound on up into the west end of the Brooks Range, and general IFR conditions from around St. Lawrence Island down to Nunavik Island, and also again out over the northern Gulf of Alaska. Monday afternoon should generally see IFR conditions redeveloping there along the northwest Arctic coast, another cold front nudging southeastward and approaching the north slope then later Monday. And meanwhile, the low continues to sit there out over the Gulf of Alaska with areas of IFR into the southeast panhandle and still out over portions of the Gulf with areas of IFR off of the western coast there and into the Aleutians there around the Bering Sea. Past conditions on Sunday, Anaktuvik will see IFR conditions become VFR with that weakening front passing south and east of the region. Same thing at Adigan, IFR becoming VFR by Sunday afternoon. And then Lake Clark and Merrill should see MVFR conditions improve to VFR as we head through the later morning and afternoon. And generally, VFR conditions should prevail at Rainy Pass on Sunday. Windy Pass starting out with MVFR in the early morning, becoming VFR as the day unfolds. Same thing at Isabel, MVFR becoming VFR. And Mentasta, similar trend, MVFR becoming VFR on Sunday afternoon. Same thing at Tanita, MVFR to VFR. And Portage should generally hold on to MVFR conditions throughout the day on Sunday. And farther to the east there in the southeast panhandle, the north end, Chilkoot and White Passes, VFR becoming MVFR. Some of that marine moisture begins to work in, but that would not until be late in the day on Sunday, more likely Sunday night, and certainly by Monday, IFR conditions developing there. Freezing levels are generally around or below 6,000 feet or along south central coast areas, including the Kenai, north end of Kodiak Island. Much of the interior, 6,000 to 8,000 feet, with highest freezing levels there down along Haida Gwaii there in the southeast, as well as along the far west coast, Nunavik Island, on up towards St. Lawrence and the Bering Strait, around 12,000 feet. And there is the potential for icing between 10,000 feet and a flight level of 20,000 feet. That's generally above most general aviation. And then in the south central areas along the northern Gulf, between 8,000 feet and a flight level of 18,000 feet. Jet stream level winds strongest around that low pressure circulation there southeast of Kodiak Island in the Gulf, anywhere from 90 upwards to 105 knots. Onshore flow 70 knots there around Prince William Sound from the south. Large high pressure over eastern Russia, very warm temperatures out there further west into Siberia. And then 9,000 foot winds continues to show that low pressure circulation over the Gulf of Alaska, with southerly flow coming there into the southeast panhandle and west of Yakutat on the order of 40 to 50 knots. And then bringing it down to 3,000 feet, we do see winds upwards to 65 knots with some turbulence possible there along south central coast, especially Cordova on over toward Prince William Sound and along the Kenai. And that is where we expect the best chance of some turbulence on Sunday, surface to 6,000 feet from Yakutat westward through the Kenai into portions of the Alaska Peninsula, and then a pocket up there in the central Brooks Range, surface to 5,000 feet. That's your aviation weather. Have a safe flight if you're heading out.
It used to be that you could only warn one person about a tornado after it had already blown down someone else's barn.
Now, on average, we're able to issue a tornado warning 15 minutes before the tornado's even there, and that wouldn't be happening without Doppler radar.
This NexRad system has reduced fatalities on the order of 45% due to tornadoes since its advent.
We have a lot more information now about storms and being able to understand how they develop, how they produce severe weather, and how that information might be used to improve warnings for our National Weather Service partners.
The lab is unique in that we serve the nation by supporting the National Weather Service in its mission to protect lives and safe property by improving the accuracy and the lead time of severe weather warnings.
We have a legacy of radar research and converting existing technology from military to weather purposes.
A recycled Doppler radar led to the development of NexRad, installed nationwide in the early 90s. It allowed forecasters to see storms like never before.
Not only did we help bring that technology to the National Weather Service and to help protect lives and property, but we have continued to upgrade that technology, keep it relevant, and keep it state-of-the-art.
Recently, a major upgrade was added. Dual polarization technology takes the radar from 2D to 3D. Forecasters now know more about what type of precipitation is falling, which is very helpful during winter storms, as well as how much rain is accumulating, resulting in better flash flood warnings. The radar can also detect and track tornadoes based on debris. Looking to the future, the National Severe Storms Lab is testing the capabilities of phased array radar. Originally used by the U.S. Navy, the antenna scans the skies electronically rather than mechanically, allowing the radar to focus on a storm.
With current technology, we get a full picture or image of what is going on within a storm every 4 to 5 minutes. So it's more like a snapshot. Whereas with phased array radar, we get that picture of what's going on in the storm every minute. So it becomes more like watching a movie. So we can do adaptive, rapid scanning on the storms that matter most, being able to provide the information that's most relevant when and where it's happening.
Another advantage of phased array radar is its multifunction capability, providing weather and air traffic information simultaneously.
Number one, it is a system that promises to replace and expand upon the existing weather surveillance radars. Secondly, to replace aging air traffic surveillance radars. And number three, it offers a potential application to meet Department of Homeland Security and defense requirements for identifying and tracking non-cooperative aircraft. With the replacement of all these various radars with a single system, the American taxpayer could realize substantial savings in cost.
You have a lot fewer radars to maintain, and the electronic capability of this also reduces maintenance costs because you do not have moving parts.
Not too long ago, the ability to predict severe weather was thought to be impossible. During the past several decades, research conducted at the National Severe Storms Lab has developed life-saving tools like Doppler radar. We've progressed from no warning of threatening weather to about a 15-minute lead time, and current research promises to extend that much further.
Our knowledge of severe storms and how they behave, and our use and ability to use the Doppler radar technology is in a lot of cases a direct result of that close working relationship, that research to operations component that we get between the National Severe Storms Laboratory and a forecast office.
That history and understanding of how these data can be used by our users and doing the research to help advance the use of radar technology, really it's what we live for, it's in our lifeblood, it's in our history.
It's now easier than ever to be a part of weather research. We just launched the MPing app for both iPhone and Android users, and it's totally free. PING, which stands for Precipitation Identification Near the Ground, is a research project by the NOAA National Severe Storms Lab and the University of Oklahoma. With the mobile app, you can send us your weather observations on the go. Are snowflakes falling on your head? Is hail hitting your car? Just select what type of precipitation is falling and press submit. It's that easy. It takes about 5 seconds and it's anonymous. Reports can then be viewed online. Our scientists will compare your report with what the radar has detected. This helps us develop new radar technologies and techniques. Download the app today, share your reports, and let's work together to make our nation weather ready. Learn more here and follow us.
And now, marine weather around Alaska.
As always, we start our marine weather segment with today's sea ice edge, and you can see the ice as it retreated farther north up into the Chukchi Sea. Though it is slow melting there is upper level high pressure and warmer temperatures over eastern Russia, so that should accelerate some of the melting here in the coming week. And along the Arctic coast, the ice continues to break up there as well. And looking at what we have for Sunday for the southeast panhandle, low pressure is going to be out on the west side of the Gulf of Alaska, and the inner waterways will see south winds 10 to 15 knots, waves 2 to 3 feet. But notice the winds picking up, especially as you get from Gustavus westward, Yakutat to on over toward Cordova and Prince William Sound. We're looking at gales of 35 to near 40 knots up on the north end of the Gulf, and seas building to 12 feet. On Monday, things will come down a little, at least for the Gulf, around 30 to 35 knots with swells of 10 to 12 feet, especially Sitka north and westward. Inner waterways will be continue to see southeast to south winds 15 to 20 knots and waves 3 to 4 feet. Across south central areas, look for 40-knot gales across the north end of the Gulf off the Kenai, and with waves upwards of 10 to 13 feet. Northeast winds 30 knots, 6-footers there in Prince William Sound, and north winds of 30 to 35 knots mid and at the mouth of Cook Inlet with waves of 10 to 12 feet. On Monday, not quite the winds. They'll be coming down a bit as well. Look for easterly to northeasterly winds at 25 to 30 knots across the North Gulf with swells of 9 to 12 feet. Northeast 20 knots, 4-footers there in Prince William Sound, and then out of the northwest 20 to 25 knots with 6-foot swells through the lower half of Cook Inlet. Now across the Alaska Peninsula and Kodiak Island, you'll see some funneling of winds there through Shelikof Strait with 35-knot gales, 11-foot waves. Winds turn northwest off of the Alaska Peninsula in the North Pacific there at 15 to 25 knots, waves 6 to 7 feet. And out of the north, 15 knots with 3 to 4-foot waves on the Bering side. And then for Monday, on the Pacific side, winds will be generally out of the northwest, 15 to 20 knots, and swells around 6 feet. On the Bering side, west to northwest winds 10 to 15 knots and waves 2 to 3 feet. Across the Aleutian chain, we are missing some wind data, but generally winds should be out of the west to northwest around 10 knots and waves 5 to 6 feet on the Pacific side and 3 to 5 feet on the Bering side. And then for Monday, look for winds to be a little bit more from the, if not variable, a little more from the southwest across, or southeast rather, across the mid-Aleutian chain at Atka and Adak, and waves there just anywhere from 2 to 3 feet on the Bering side to 4 to 6 feet on the Pacific side. Then going on up toward the west coast, winds will be out of the northwest along the coast there in and around Nunavik Island, and waves 3-4 feet. Onshore flow west-southwest into Norton Sound, and waves running about 3 feet. And then on Monday, winds, at least the lower southwest coast, will be out of the west-northwest at 15 knots, waves a few feet, and south winds 10 to 15 knots. including Norton Sound there with waves of 2 to maybe 5 feet off of south, I should say, of St. Lawrence Island. Along the Arctic coast, winds will be out of the west at 20 knots. Areas of ice where there are openings in the ice, 3 to 5 foot waves, and then down along the northwest coast, winds will generally be out of the south-southwest, 10 to 15 knots, and waves 3 to 4 feet. And then on Monday, look for south winds picking up along the northwest coast, especially north of the Seward Peninsula, with winds of 25 to 30 knots, especially along Point Hope on toward Point Lay, with waves in the lower Chukchi Sea of 7 to 11 feet, areas of ice along the Arctic coast. And a check of the surface weather map. Tonight, low pressure will be pushing just to the east-southeast there of Kodiak Island and slowly spinning about the Gulf of Alaska, bringing in bands of moderate to locally heavier rain on the east side of the Kenai on up into Prince William Sound on over toward Cordova and near Yakutat. And a cold front moving through the north slope. And then on Sunday, that low remains out in the Gulf of Alaska, causing those gale force winds across northern waters of the Gulf. Otherwise, quieter conditions will unfold along the west coast. And into Monday, that low remains there, though it will weaken across the northern Gulf with fair weather there in the west. That's tonight's show. Thank you for watching.
These forecasts are for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating.